what is going on. You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live, aka Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. Sometimes a little shaky. We got to talk to them. This is episode 553. I am your host. On the right side today, Steve V, alongside Kodi, Maurice, Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm doing wonderful. I'm not leading the show, though. I just want you to know, just because I'm in this seat, I got my Spangles. I'm trying to fit into Kansas. They sell alcohol going through the drive-thru, so that's what I got today for.
I love that in Kansas, and just make sure your audio is set to the right output. Just double check that.
I'll double check it right this second.
Double check it really quickly. It sounds like maybe it is in, but we are.
No, I'm good.
Okay, good. We are live every Wednesday, like I said, in front of a virtual audience. And I see some of you. I see Durand. I see Calidad. I see somebody, maybe Diego. Okay, hi, everybody. Welcome. And we want to hear from you all show long. So put the comments in the comment section. And Kodi, we just got to check in with you. How's things going? You were off last week. You moved to Kansas. Give everybody update.
Move to Kansas is a big jump. I am here on sabbatical to write some music.
On assignment.
to check out the local culture, to help out my mom, and she's helping me out. And we are being there for one another like a family does. So it's good. It's going good. I'm settling in. I feel like it's still a little surreal. Like I don't even believe that I'm still here because I've lived so much of my life in New York City. But I'm here. I'm doing it.
Change is good, and you are doing it. And we're going to be talking about your brand new single, Talk About It, which is available everywhere a little bit more, but super excited that you're actually going to be producing more music. I wanted to talk about Vakaya right now. And, we've worked with Vakaya a lot on, Kodi and I were on the Puerto Vallarta Mexico resort last year. We had a great time, Kodi, right?
Oh, we definitely did. It was amazing. I had a great time there.
Yeah, it's like you can't really look at the comments too much because it's like it distracts you for a second, and so you gotta look.
You see me get distracted?
This is really good for our mind. We're going to be talking about Viagra a little bit and about Alzheimer's, and I think this is probably good for our mind. This is our Wordle, or what's that thing you can play with your mind in a good way? Okay, Wordle, I did a little video that I wanted to play for you guys that is now on the Vakaya website. And we talk a lot about the red light district on many of the Vakaya cruises and trips that they have. And currently, if you go to Vakaya and any trip that has a red light district, you will see Marie and myself. Marie has been a frequent guest. I would call her a regular now because she's been on Tags Live 3 times, I believe, or at least twice. And we did a whole video on consent and how it relates to our sex progressiveness. And I just wanted to play a little bit of it. Kodi, can you do it for me? Because you're a little bit better at switching gears, and then we'll discuss.
Consent works in more like cis male dominated spaces.
I identify as a gay man. I go to a lot of sex positive spaces where I live in New York, but in sex positive for cisgender men in gay spaces that I've been in, it can be a look, a nod that actually is suggesting I'm interested. That doesn't mean touch me, but it can just mean I'm interested, and you can see somebody coming towards you. You might approach somebody, and often if you do get that consent, maybe you do touch them, and it can be a moment. There's also verbal cues where, if let's just say somebody came from behind you and touched you, you might look and see who is touching you. If you're not feeling that moment, oftentimes it's just a simple taking the hand and moving it away, and that usually is a sign that is maybe don't go there. And I've seen it a couple times even on this Vakaya red light district, where I think maybe the communication isn't as strong or people don't understand that. And I've had to maybe take someone's hand 2 and 3 times.
Okay.
And you don't want to always find yourself in that space, because it is that age-old no means no, but that is a communication that I'm not interested. And I find myself even saying, oh, thank you so much, and trying to be gracious. But one thing, and then I want to hear from you, is, on our show, and we were talking about this recently, about always look around in your spaces when you go into a sex positive space, and look to see where there's usually a monitor person in the front. Maybe there's security too. You just kind of want to make yourself aware that if you did find yourself in a situation where you weren't comfortable, at least you're aware of, okay, the entrance is over there. There's a monitor person over there that hopefully I know. I think being aware for your own is always a good ultimate place to be. But,
exactly. Yeah. It's a smart thing to do.
Right.
Exactly.
Unmuting my mic. I hope you unmuted your mic. Can you hear me? Great.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. I can. And so that is a short portion of a longer video that is currently on the Vakaya website in the red light district. It's also on YouTube. I'll also post the full-length video on tagspodcast.com, probably reference episode 553, but it really is a testament to consent and what it means when you are in sex progressive spaces. What does consent really look like? And I really invite everybody. We didn't have all the answers. It was something, and I would love everyone to hear Marie's point of view, because she does sex work and sex events, sex progressive events in the DC area that are open to more pansexual community. And so, it looks different, but we all need to read these cues. And I mean, what do you say to this, Kodi, about what Vakaya is doing in our conversation, the tidbit that you heard about it?
I love it. I think it's amazing. I think you guys hit on so many salient points that a lot of these gestures and a lot of the communication in these spaces are nonverbal, but at the end of the day, no means no. And I feel like I have been in the same position as you, where I was in a bar or a sex club and somebody was so insistent, and it's such a turnoff, and it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And you, like you said, you don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be in that position. You don't want to be the person that is being basically pushed upon as far as sexual advances are going. It just is I found it very degrading. So I think everybody would do well to listen to this and to actually learn a little bit about how to navigate these situations.
One of the things I learned when I started to explore BDSM culture, sex progressiveness, was that you really have to check your ego at the door. And I know that that's a common phrase that we all hear, but we all have to learn how to take no and be turned down in our lives for a multitude of reasons. For jobs, I was in the acting world for so many reasons, for so many years, and I didn't get cast in many roles. And you really, the one great thing about aging is you don't take things so seriously. Hopefully, at least I don't. And things that made you have your ego rise to the occasion more become so less important as you get older. And if someone's not interested, you're just like, oh, instead of pining over somebody like I did in my 20s and 30s and even my early 40s, now I'm like, okay, if you're not into me, you're not into me. I can get it right away. And I've learned the word to pivot, and pivoting and moving in a different direction opens so many doors. And I know that sounds so simplistic. We could probably do a whole show on that and not be so
I know, right? But I want to keep going, right?
Yeah, but it basically is the answer to a lot of this stuff is when you're exploring your sex progressiveness or sex positivity it's like go in full throttle, but also just be aware of these cues and some of the things, and realize that you're entering a space that is exciting. There's so many things that could occur. You could explore so much about your own sex progressiveness, but you also, it takes 2, 3, 4 to tango, if you will. And you really just need to be mindful of those people and the energy. And I do feel that as aging, like you really get in touch with your energy and somebody else's energy, and when you might be stepping into, I mean, it really is a meditation, a working meditation that's really exciting, and I'm here for it. And that's what our conversation is all about. And I invite people to listen to the full 20-minute interview that we did, or conversation more so that we did.
Where can we find it again?
So it's on the Vakaya website, myvakaya.com, on the red light district area is the best way to view it. I'll post it on tagspodcast.com. It's on YouTube as well. So Khalidad says, it's a really good consent video. Thank you so much. Some of us remember the Anything Goes era of the 70s and 80s. Yeah.
Ooh, I want to hear those stories.
Yeah, I mean, I think still anything still does go. It's just that you need to check in with the partners that you are exploring Anything Goes with. So, yeah. All right, let's move on to some hot topics.
Because the wheels were turning. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go right
if you want to say something, say it.
No. Because you said something about Anything Goes.
Yeah.
I think I remember I think it was like, was it a Reddit thread or it was an Instagram post? It doesn't matter. And someone inadvertently went to piss night at a local bar, and there was somebody in the urinal. And he was saying that, oh man, I did not know it was piss night. And people were just saying, you should have just made that man's day and peed all over him in the urinal.
It's called water
That's just
sports.
What came to my mind when you said Anything Goes. So it was, great.
It's called water sports, and I'm here for it. And
me too. I've done it before.
Hand me that glass, and I'm here for it.
Drink lots of water.
There's some hot topics that we really got to get into, and we want to hear from you too. This is really good news if you are a Viagra taker, because there's a recent study that just confirmed the findings of earlier research, which indicates people who regularly take specific medication for ED, like Viagra, have a lower risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Why? Because I read the story earlier, is because more blood flow is going to your brain, which is activating your brain, and it has been linked to lower instances of Alzheimer's. And, you know, Kodi, when I read this, I was excited in many ways. I mean, because, you know, I have taken, we had our sponsor, which it was more natural form, Joy Mode. And then I've taken Blue Chew periodically, not regularly though, but I also take, on our other show, Of a Certain Age, I was talking about nitric acid, nitric oxide, thank you, which is about blood flow. And I'm all about blood flow because I'm working out. As you get older, you really want that blood to keep flowing in your organs, in that organ, everywhere else. And so, and you know, Of a Certain Age, to quote our other podcast, you don't want to, I mean, it's so sad if the thought of, like, you always want to have your mental state with you. Like my mom at 86 still has her mental capacity with her. And the idea that you could lose some of that really, and there's often no cure. What do you say to this on this findings?
I think this is amazing. And I think it's such an unexpected benefit. I mean, who would have thought that something that was developed to make your dick hard would have the type of benefit of making your mind strong as well. And I think since people are living longer, this is something that we should really look into, as far as, because I feel like with people living longer, Alzheimer's is going to become more of an issue with older people. So because there's more people who can actually get it.
Layer in dementia.
Yep. All of those things. My grandfather passed away of Parkinson's. And
I was just going to say,
yeah, it was a lot. And so I get that this is something that it could benefit the community as a whole. It just makes me want to try Blue Chew, Viagra, all the things of that nature, and you know, go to a sex party, have some fun, and not have to worry about my brain, which is not usually how those parties go for me, unfortunately.
Exactly, right? Oh my goodness. Okay, well, moving on to another hot topic. If someone says these words, they just might be gay. You know, I can't believe we're talking about this, but there was a recent story where queer people have plenty of signals to let one another know that we're part of the alphabet mafia, according to this writer. And that includes vocabulary. Vocabulary. There are certain, I can't
You
get
got
that
it.
out today. Have another drink, Steve.
Woohoo!
Well, on a recent Reddit thread, gay guys were sounding off on which words immediately let them know that another person was gay. And you can imagine fabulous, fierce, obsessed were all words that were used to say,
Iconic.
oh, that one's gay. But here's one that people have used. Are you looking for video head cleaner? Which I was recently, where was I? And somebody asked,
Yes,
I
okay.
was in LA and I went to, is it Rough Trade, which is the leather store in Silver Lake. And I was going to get Bader Balm, which is this balm that you use to masturbate, and you can masturbate for hours and hours. Will of tantricfitness.com, who's our regular guest, put me onto it. And I've been baiting, and it's really helping on so many levels for better orgasms, better, many reasons. We'll get into that later. But
Ooh.
I went in there and the guy was, I just bought the Bader Balm, and he was like, do you want anything else? Do you want any video head cleaner? And I'm like, video head cleaner? Are we still calling it that? Or are we just calling it poppers? Let's just like say what it is. But what
Video head cleaner.
do you say that even today we still have a lingo that sets us apart? I mean, your friend, my friend, your friend originally on your dinner that we said goodbye to you for your short-term interim.
I was gonna
"Hey, girl,"
say.
she was saying, "Hey, girl," to me, or she was like, "Girl, this," and she's like, "I'm sorry, I keep saying girl to you, Steve," and I was like, "I'm good with it."
I know
say
you
girl.
were.
I was like, "Keep on." What do you say to this?
Girl, I know. I always do this. I call you girl all the time, so I don't know why she had the issue, but I mean, she's trying to be respectful, which we have to appreciate. So, first of all, darling, I say darling all the time. I think that would indicate that. But I don't think I got it from necessarily the gay culture. I got it from watching Eartha Kitt and Dominique Devereaux on Dynasty.
Not Dominique Devereaux.
You know, Miss Dominique Devereaux. She's everything, honey. And so,
Wait,
yeah.
what's the actress's real name?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
now
gosh,
you got me on the spot. She was in Julia. Duran can help us out.
Duran
Put it in the chat, baby.
Okay, okay, go on.
So yeah, I got that from there. So I don't know what anybody is talking about, but I think this is a very valid thing. And it's something that the gay community, Diane Carroll, there we go. Thank you so much, Callie. Woo, brain fart. I'm so sorry. But I think that this is something that we as gay men in particular, because I feel like this is mostly directed to the gay male community, we're more in touch with our feminine side. So, and Duran put it into, thank you, Duran. We're more in touch with our feminine side. So this is something that we have picked up from women and things that we expound on, and we're not afraid to express ourselves in that format. Basically. So also what I think is it comes from being socialized as a gay man. So when you go and hang out with your friends, you just pick up all of these sayings and it just becomes a part of your lexicon, basically. So generally speaking, gay men we're transferring this lingo from one person to the other. So I think it's a great thing. And I love being able to determine who is a gay man just by the way they talk and their speech, their pattern of speech.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little early for my class pass early today to go to the Crunch Fitness on 19th Street. And I was in between. I went to get a pedicure because I'm going away to Puerto Vallarta. I was going to go to my gym appointment and then get my hair cut. It was a day and planning this show. And I sat at this
Fabulous.
little cafe on 8th Avenue, which was notoriously before the gay area. And I just was looking over and not taking in who was around me. And there was a couple of guys that were in mid conversation. They were like, girl, this. And they were,
Girl.
yeah. I mean, I was probably in the same conversation last night with my friend DG last night, and if they looked over at us, they would be like, "Those two over there."
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you know, I love it because I just think we have a whole culture of love, and it's our own thing.
It
So
is.
I don't
And you
know.
know, when we get into the girls and we get into the fabulous and ooh child,
Child,
you know it's a good conversation. Let's see. Oh, it's a good conversation. That's
it
when you
is a
know that
really
the
good
juice is coming. So
conversation.
I love it. I can't wait. I need to have
Is
more of that in
anybody
my
saying
life.
anything before we move on?
Callie
Before I
Dad
put my
says
glasses on?
girl is a good subversion of the gender binary. And that is very true because it's for gay men, it's universal. It's for your girlfriends, it's for your gay besties, it's for all of the above. It's an all-encompassing. Sometimes I call a straight men girl. I'd be like, girl, did you see that?
Like, who are you talking to? What girl's here? It's just you and me.
You
Yeah.
girl.
I love it. I'm here for it. And well, Grindr has apparently turned 15. The app that has maybe ruined gay sex forever was the title of Life and Culture feature on a recent article. Well, the platform has been criticized as, you know, a source of racism, fat phobia, depression, and disordered eating. It's also been part of some really good things. Like a lot of people have actually gotten together on the app. And even though those who retain faith in the life enhancing pleasure of anonymous sex are inclined to harbor a grudge against Grindr, blaming the app for the death of physical spaces and for making the process of getting laid so automized, so alienated, so damn Neanderthal. The Grindr, they just go on and talk about this. I loved this article. Did you read it, Kodi? Because it was celebrating it, but it was also calling it out at the same time. Yeah. And I think Grindr is kind of in that sphere where we are, how do we really feel about it? But one of our listeners sinfully sent us a thread of people that have actually met each other and had long-term relationships. He sent us the thread, thanks sinfully, and here's a few of what he sent us. I met my first boyfriend on here when I was 18, and that lasted for 3 years. I then found my next boyfriend on here, and that lasted another 7 years. Somebody else said, just celebrated 10 years with my boyfriend, and we met on Grindr. I've had friends not want to meet with people because of everything from his dick's too small to I don't like his job. I'm like, dude, maybe you're the problem, not the app. Somebody else actually was very thoughtful in what they said. Is this was written to, they said they actually, as a white cis gay male, they wanted to acknowledge their privilege and they wanted to acknowledge that maybe it isn't equal for everybody and they are here. And this person was writing in throughout the thread, which was a very long thread. I might just put this on Tagged Podcast, reference episode 553, because you'll see a lot of people saying their thoughts, their honest thoughts about Grindr. And a lot of it, like you met your longstanding boyfriend on the app during the pandemic as well. So I know we like to trash Grindr a lot. It is celebrating 15 years. I think there could be room for more improvement with Grindr. But what do you say on the 15th anniversary of Grindr?
Well, thank you, Grindr. I think that generally speaking, I've had great sex. Well, B minus, I would say. On average, all my experiences on Grindr have been pretty positive. Maybe not the actual interactions, because I have experienced racism on Grindr. I think I even got sent a monkey emoji one time, and it was.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was not kidding. It was really ridiculous, and it kind of hurt. It really hurt, actually. But I didn't even know I was going to share that tonight. But I think that it's something that has allowed a lot of people access to the gay community that would not have had it before. So I think that of all things considered, it is something that has given more people and more opportunities to people than it's taken away from people. And I always say that whoever is checking for you, that's who you invest your time in. So that's neither here nor there. You did mention that I met my ex-boyfriend on Grindr. So I definitely believe that love is possible through Grindr, and I think an app is only as good as the person that is using it. So you put out what you want to get back from Grindr, and it's basically just a tool. So use it how you want to use it, and get from it what you actually want to get from it. Basically, anything could be a sex app. Instagram.
Well, I like the tool. I know how to use a tool.
Hey.
And yeah, just know how to use your tools, everybody. So yeah, what do you guys think on the 15th anniversary? We want to hear from you. Did you have positive experiences from Grindr? Let us know. We'll report back on that. Or have you moved on? But let's stay on apps right now, because a recent article said the question, is it appropriate to share your dating app screenshots on social media? And in our meeting, Kodi, you were thinking that we were thinking sharing pictures from your, and actually, no, we're talking about the conversations that you actually have with somebody else. Gay culture underwent a whole seismic vibe shift in 2009 with the launch of Grindr, but the ubiquitous dating app that changed the way queer men meet and hook up celebrated 15 years, like we just mentioned. Well, for better or for worse, Grindr has altered the way we communicate, and besides emboldening people to say things on the app they would never utter in person, and nearly extinguishing the once tried and true concept of cruising, it's led to the controversial practice of sharing Grindr screenshots. You know what we're talking about. The ones where people say things like, I hope gay men never stop posting Grindr screenshots, where somebody says, hot, haha, just good body and nice face. And then the other person says, and what am I then? Not hot. Somebody says, sorry, not hot. Sorry, I think I know my worth and you're a bit low for me to go. You know, those ones where people share those. We were talking in our meeting, and I said that I am here for sharing. I don't think it's inappropriate or not to share those. I mean, I don't really have enough time. We have to produce like 3 shows a week here, and I have so much other stuff to be doing that I don't have time for all that stuff. But I am here for call people out on what they say. I'm a communications major. I am a podcaster. The word is everything to me. If you can't stand by your word and what you mean, then you have no business. Like if you put it out there, then it should be, it's not like they're showing your dick, it's showing your word. So if you're going to say something out there, know that it's going to get screen captured. If you're going to put your dick out there, it's also going to get captured. I just, whenever I put anything out there, I try and think about what I'm putting out there. And at least at this point in the game, I am comfortable with everything. And if somebody wants to call me out on it, I will back it up. I've had to back it up in the past. I can think of a situation in Puerto Vallarta. I'm not sure, you weren't there, but somebody was coming for me for something that they didn't like on my Grindr. At the time, this is pre-prep, and I had put safer sex at the time on my profile. And a friend of a friend, we were sitting in a circle on the blue chairs, gay beach in Puerto Vallarta, and they called me out on it in the group and said, well, you put safer sex. What do you mean by that? I'm HIV positive. And what were you trying to say by that? I said, well, I was saying what I meant. At this point in time, I'm not on PrEP. This is several years ago. And I'm for safer sex. He did not like that. Well, what are you saying towards HIV positive people? I'm like, I'm not saying anything. I'm saying that at this point right now, I knew what I was saying. I stood by it then. I stood by it even he still didn't like it. And we got into it. Like,
what? I'm glad I wasn't there.
I was I stood because I'm a communications major, and sometimes I
Yeah.
don't always get it right, but 9 times out of 10, I pretty much know what I'm saying in all of my messaging. I'm very clear and very distinct, and when I don't get it right, I'm right there with, "I got it wrong. Let me rephrase. I apologize." This is how I roll right now. What do you say?
Oh yeah, I agree with you. I think that if you are bold enough to say it, you should be bold enough to stand on it in a public forum. And the only thing that I kind of find a little bit, not so admirable about this type of thing that you do when you screen grab and you post it is when people post something and they put the username or any discriminating thing that would have you identify the
Sure.
person that sent it. So I think that we need to use a little bit of subtlety and discretion as far as doxing people is concerned. Actually, somebody that we both know, they posted something on Instagram not too long ago, and it was it was juicy. It was a whole bunch of things about they were going back and forth in the text message, and I did not have an issue with the person posting this because it was something that was vile that was sent to them. It was basically calling them out about a sexual encounter that they had, and this person that we both know didn't want to do something with that person again, and this person was just going off on them in the comments, basically, in the exchange, actually. And I think that the screen name was in there, and I tried to look it up, and I guess they changed it.
You bring up a
But
really good point on I don't think it's fair either to maybe call out the other person. If you just want to screen capture, look what this person said to me.
yeah,
I think that's you're like,
sufficient.
hey, it's
Yeah,
out there. You put it out there. Maybe putting that person's handle on there is a little step too far and
it is.
unnecessary. That could bring them hatred and divisiveness that we don't need.
Yeah, exactly. And I do think that I have plenty of screen captures in my phone right now. I was actually just looking for it. You can search for what you want by using the search bar in photos. I typed it in and nothing came up. Otherwise, I would share them right now. I
Okay.
would have put them right in here and we would have been laughing at them because people say some wild things on Grindr. I think the wildest thing that I got, besides like hate or anything like that, was when somebody was like, "Oh, we have the same name. I always wanted to hear somebody call my name while I'm having sex with them, and
Say
it'd be
my
their name
name, say
too."
my name.
Saying, girl.
Was that good, Kodi, coming
That
from
was
you? Because we're
delicious.
about to talk about music.
Are you coming on my next single, honey?
I mean, let's talk music now because researchers are now saying groove is in the mind. Why do people like Kylie, Troye Sivan, Beyonce, Madonna scientifically drive the gays to the dance floor? And it's a study, Cody, because according to Science Advances, there's actually a scientific reason why certain tunes, like Talk About It, propel
Hey.
us to the dance floor more than others. Apparently, it's a rhythm of moderate complexity in a track that triggers the highest desire to move, hitting left sensor motor complex in our brains and hinting at a deeply intertwined relationship between motor actions and sensory processes. Basically, the right level of grooviness tickets our minds and signs to the rest of our body and desire to start shaking our groove thing. And, we all know songs like by Troye Sivan, Ariana Grande, of course, Kylie Minogue. I've heard Cody
Name
in the
them all.
past that when Madonna writes a song, she's really she has like a formula that she writes, and it has to build on a crescendo. It has to have it's very simplistic the way she writes a song. Not simplistic because she writes these hits, but
Yeah.
it has to have these certain points that she wants to hit that ultimately, we all know songs that are like, oh, that's interesting, but they never really get to that moment that you want to just like groove and all that. And so there is a recipe. You just wrote a song. What do you
I did.
say? I think your song is very groove friendly. Exactly what this article is talking about. Were you trying to get us into the sheets, into the dance floor? Are you trying to sleep with all of us? What is going on,
I am
Kodi?
trying to sleep with you all.
My
Please,
goodness.
please come to Kansas. Yeah, no, it was. I had that in mind because I wrote the song with Tag's podcast in mind. So I knew it was something that I wanted to please all of the hosts, basically. So I
The
wrote it
hose?
with
The
the
hose?
hose,
Oh,
the
sorry.
hose, the hose, and the host. I mean, you
My
pick one. It's
audio
up to
went out
you.
for a second. I related to both, but I just didn't. Sorry. Yeah.
As do I, darling. As do I. I answered by both names, basically. Yeah, but I think that I wrote it with that in mind, something that we all could dance to, something we all could get in behind, basically. And I also, something that kind of struck me while reading this article was that if a specific beat or a type of layered beat or a mildly complex beat is what they use, the phrasing that they use, inspires the feet to go dance, then I think that a melody that touches the soul and is mildly complex also gets you to get in touch with the song. Does that make sense? It really moves you.
Does. I mean, I had a friend the other day play country of all genres.
Was it Beyonce?
It was not, but and I was like, country, what? But I ended up really loving the groove. It was really good music. And I think if you really like good music, I can remember going to Jazz Fest in New Orleans several years ago. And when you go to the open field area where you're hearing bluegrass, you're hearing blues, you're hearing traditional jazz, new jazz, all kinds, you are exposed to the nuances of what really is jazz. You're hearing rock and roll.
Yeah.
And any notion that you had, like, I don't like this, I don't like that, goes out the door, because music is music. Good music is good music.
Universal.
If it's universal. And at the end of the day, good music is just good music, and you just really appreciate it. And so that did that for me in New Orleans, where I was just exposed to these nuances of, bluegrass. I was like, am I really going to like bluegrass? Loved it. It was, maybe not going to be on my top 10 playlist, but I've heard some newer country stuff that I'm into right now. And so, yeah.
I can turn you on to some more. And I've been exposed in New Orleans too, but probably in a different way.
The backside of you, or
I mean, face down, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, we need to start giving some advice, and it's that time of the show. And this one comes from Reddit, and it says, how do you feel about gay bars with porn playing on TV screens? Let me get my glasses on. I recently went to a gay bar in Montreal called Le Stud. I've been there, and there were TV screens with gay porn playing. This was not a gay cruising bar or a sex club, as far as I know, and I've never seen this at any other gay venue. Has this ever happened to anyone? I was okay with it, but I did find it odd. I don't find it odd at all. I find it like really hot. And prior to the show, I decided to ask our friend, because he works at the Eagle, and I said, did you guys get rid of the porn at the New York Eagle? And his response was, yes, definitely on Wednesday night in the club on the screen, but no more upstairs. And other than that, I don't know. So I think they have, because you can confirm it with me too, Kodi, that this was a bar here in New York that used to play porn all the time on the screens. And I think when they expanded, they let it become part of the ethosphere. Like, now everybody gets to experience, like, don't just stare at a screen. You can actually have your own sex progressiveness. What do you say?
I love sex on the screens, and basically in the club as well, but on the screens in particularly, I think that it's fantastic. I think it increases the mood. I admit that I was a bit taken aback when I was younger, and it was something that I was kind of new to, but I have gotten used to it. I think that it's great. I think it enhances the mood. I think it gets you in the mood and exposes you to some art that you may not have experienced before, and maybe some new performers that could motivate you to have the type of sex that you would like to have. So all in all, I think it's a win-win. I read a lot in the comments that were in that Reddit thread that it keeps the straights away, which I do agree with, unless they are really, really invested in gay sex, which is why they would go to the Eagle in the first place. So if you're uncomfortable with gay sex, I think that this is a deterrent for any stragglers or people that would not normally want to, be in our spaces.
Yeah, can I stop you on that part? Because normally I have heard a lot of the old timers complain about, oh, we don't want women in some of our spaces. There's so many women taking over our gay spaces.
Mhm.
And well, I hear that
Was it
and I
me?
agree. It wasn't you. I'm here for everybody. I just think we are in a different time and place. I was at our New York Eagle recently, and it was an area that was a cruise area. I'm talking dark and dirty. And these three women were having a fun Saturday night. I don't normally go on the Saturday night because I think it's amateur hour. And they were making their way into the cruise area, and they were kind of giggling and having a good time. And I thought, this
Mm.
isn't going to go very well, because a lot of these queens over here are going to be like, what are they doing over in our space like that? I actually agree with, don't come into our spaces giggly and trying to take over in that way. I just think it's not right. I mean, do you
Yeah.
agree with that?
So what I was going to say is, I meant in that joke where I said, was it me? You mentioned the old timer. So that's what I was referring to.
Right.
I normally don't have an issue with women in our spaces. I love going out with my female friends. I will not take them to the Eagle because I do not think it's a space that they would be comfortable in, number one. And number two, I would probably not be comfortable doing what I want to do in front of them in the Eagle. So I
Right.
generally don't bring them there. So it's a balancing act, basically. It's I love to share my space with allies, especially the clubs and things of that nature. But I think there is a line that we just don't cross, or at least I don't cross. So I welcome all allies, but everybody needs to be comfortable at the end of the day.
Okay, well, we got to get these last topics in
Yes.
because I'm dying to
Let's
get
go.
these
Let's
in.
go.
This one is so fun that we haven't I believe we've never done this on the show in 500 and some odd episodes, because I always thought, I don't want to talk about that. But now I do. If you could fuck any celeb guy, who and why? I don't know why I was into this one. Is there a celeb, somebody wrote on Reddit, that you could fuck even if they aren't gay in a hypothetical situation? Who and why? I have always been tried and true, like, I don't really need the celebs. I like people that I meet in real life. But in recent years, there's been a few people that I have culminated my list on. One of them is Pedro Pascal, who would be
Oh,
on my list for sure. Ricky Martin would also be on my list as somebody. And there's there's an actor that's from Pakistan that I love, and I should have did a little bit more to get his name, but I love. Oh, is this him? No, not him. Do you have what's your list if you could? Oh, and the other person, I'm all over the place, would be Jamie Doonan from we all know.
ooh,
Jamie Doonan is the other one. But while you're giving your list and we want to hear from you, who would
investigate.
yes, who would be yours?
So my list is really long, and I'm giving you the abridged version basically, but I think that I want to start with Shamar Moore. He's been a crush of mine
Oh,
for a
here we
very long
go. I've met him, but
and he
yes.
looks like me, so so it'd be like
Okay.
having sex with myself. I also think Matt Bomer. I would love to have sex with Matt Bomer. He's so
Okay.
hot, and
I interviewed him. I loved it. He was great.
Taylor Zakar Perez from Red, White, and Blue. Remember that guy? I love him. I think
Yes.
he's so gorgeous. Henry Golding, the guy from he's an Asian actor from Crazy Rich Asians.
Okay.
Who else would I pick? The Rock.
Wait, I found mine, but the one
Go
that I
ahead. Who
really
is it?
Riz Ahmed. Do you guys
Ooh,
know
I gotta look
Riz
him up.
Ahmed? Riz Ahmed is like really, he would be on my list of people. Just on my list of people that
He's cute.
I'm
I'm
all
not
over
gonna
the
put him on my list. He's cute though.
Yes.
Who else? I have a bunch of people.
You have a
that I would
lot.
pick.
These were the only ones
I
that I
do.
came up with.
Maxwell. I wouldn't want to sleep with Maxwell, the singer.
The R&B singer from back
The
in the
R&B
90s.
singer from the 90s.
Kodi be
He
coming
is
back
so fine
to
me.
old school.
Okay, don't judge me. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah.
Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is my type as well.
Oh,
Okay, see, the judgment. I don't need it. I don't.
Well, we want to know who you would want to fuck with, and we want to keep this conversation going. Keep those coming through. Any last comment on that one, on who you would want to?
I got more. You need more?
Go ahead.
Wilson Cruz. I think Wilson Cruz is so beautiful, and he's so muscular.
I've met him several times, and we're friends. Yes.
Okay. Oh well, send him my number then, darling.
I can do that. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Let's move on to more advice, and this one, that was the one that we wanted to do. What makes you feel like someone is interested in you? And this was sort of a longer one, but it's kind of an age-old question. Like, how do you know if someone's really into you? The person wrote, I've been seeing a guy for a couple of months that rarely asks anything about me, how I am doing, how is my trip overseas? When he does, I have the mic for a few seconds, laughing out loud. On the other hand, I know a lot about him, his family, his best friends, because he openly shares daily via Instagram photos and texts about dates, what he's been up to. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe I have to share without being prompted. But even then, I feel he 80% of the time redirects towards his experiences. This makes me feel like I am an audience and not much more. Occasionally, I would text something and would follow up, and it has nothing to do with it. You get the point on this one. Like, this person, Kodi, feels like he is sharing a lot and asking a lot of questions, but perhaps the guy isn't really reciprocating in that. And I just think that that could be a problem, because if no one's not interested, but you could also just share your experiences and see if they're listening, which I've done in the past too. And I found in various circumstances that the person was listening. So it just means that I just have to bring up the situations. I mean, we're not all built the same way, where it has to be this equal conundrum where you have to equally say and ask me these questions and I have to then equally. It's never going to be equal. No one is equal on either side. And chemistry and the people that you are drawn to, I feel, is a really microscopic thing of the skies that is a miracle. And you've got to navigate it through. So if it's not working exactly the way you want, find another way to find out, to tell your story. I guarantee if you're finding that they are interested, but they're not doing it the way you want them to do it, they may be doing it with other ways, other sharing that you are just not aware of. And that's just, to me, the beauty of age that I've discovered that. And if you don't find that at the end of the day that it's one-sided, then it probably is.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and some points I can agree with. I do think that as a human being, we want to be validated in a way that is familiar to us. So I think it is you have to come from both sides on this issue. Basically, the person that is not it feels like they aren't listening to their partner has to move a little bit to the center, and the person that it feels feels unrecognized in the relationship has to move a little bit towards what how their partner is feeling. So I think, to me, honestly, it sounds like this person is a bit of a narcissist, because they did try to offer things about themselves, and the person still navigated to the conversation back to themselves, which is an issue for me, because we were having a conversation and you were sharing a little bit earlier today. We didn't even get to our meeting right away. We're just talking and talking and talking, catching up, and you were sharing, and then I volunteered information about myself, which I'm not really good at, but I have to force myself to do it. And you listened and you responded back and you asked questions. You were very good. That is the way that I think, is the best way to actually handle that situation. And I feel like that this person is not really doing that. And that raises a red flag for me. So I see what you're saying. And maybe you try another avenue, because along with maturity comes a better mindset on how to think about these issues, and just try another avenue. And if it doesn't work, I say cut it off, because this man is definitely self-involved.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, not everybody, sometimes people, your friendships have something to say, and they might be dominating the conversation a little bit because they want to really get everything out there.
Yeah.
Other times you might be with somebody on a date and they're quieter, and you really have to extract stuff out of them. And part of it extracting is also sharing a lot of your story. But at a certain point, you get into a rhythm, I think, on how this person communicates, and you get into that rhythm, like a song, like a music, thing. And hopefully it gels. And that's why we have these beautiful friendships, like, that are amazing, but also that's how we have these relationships too. And so it's a dance, but you really have to put the phone down. You have to listen. You have to be open. You have to put forth, if someone's not talking, like, you got to be the one sometimes. I'm a natural interviewer. It's what I do. I am a natural host. So I'm always going to be somebody that is going to elicit conversations. I'm always going to be probably the one in a relationship that's going to be asking more questions. It's what I do.
Yeah.
The person I'm talking to maybe is an engineer. Who knows what they're, they might not be in that. So it's already coming from a different, but I need to then remind myself then that they aren't there, and I need to listen more. And so, but that's all part of the fun dance of dating and getting to know each other.
I agree. And as somebody who is a little bit quieter, I know everybody is grasping their pearls right now, because I really am. I'm kind of guarded when it comes to interpersonal relationships, and really sharing a lot about myself. I feel like with you, I'm really comfortable. So that's why I can get on here and spill all of my guts. But I feel like with a lot of my relationships, I'm really guarded. So I realize that is not really, it isn't fun for people to have to pull and pull and pull things out of you. So I think anybody who is kind of guarded should push themselves a little bit to be more open with their partner. That's from personal experiences.
Love it. Let us know how you weigh in. And it's time for one of our favorite segments that we've been doing. It's produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. I put it in the link, but this will also be on Tags Podcast Reference episode 553. And we're asking the question, or they are asking the question, who took the best shot of the week? And this week, it's 13 gay porn stars who took the best photo, and it's our job on a traditional audio podcast to vividly describe why we picked the one we did. There was some really good picks on this one, I have to say, right? Kodi.
And your guy from last week that you picked, what was his name? The Texas guy?
Yeah.
He won last week, so good pick.
Boom. And he's looking really good again. And I'm loving it. I'll start. I choose Audrey Milan, who's actually
God,
the first one. Audrey Excuse me, Andre
Andres,
Milan. I don't have
yes.
my glasses on. Andre Milan gets my pick this week because he is serving everything. He's serving a fresh, wavy haircut that I love, a fresh, crisp beard. Everything is, the lighting is perfect, nipples are on point, but he's got the dick and the balls right in your face. The hole is also in your face and it's perfect. He's trimmed up, he's hairy, but he's got a big ass. I can see his nails are perfectly manicured, which I like. And he's got perfect feet, which he's got his left
Look at
foot
this man's
right.
nails.
He's got, I mean, I look at these things. He's got a
Yes, you
perfect
do.
foot in your face that's thick and meaty. And if you really look in the back, because he's probably Italian, he's got a picture in the back of the Colosseum of
Yes,
all
he does.
things. So he's giving nod to, like, in case you wondered if I'm Italian, I'm going to serve the Colosseum behind me. I've got my name, Andre Milan, right there. I've got an Italian ass serving. I got an Italian dick, Italian feet. And as most Italians, they've got the manicure, pedicure. I mean, what was that show where they had GTL? Jim Tan.
Jersey Shore.
Yeah. GTL.
GTL all day.
I'm always doing that too. Not the tanning, but
well, you know what? My vote is also Andres Milan, and I'm not budging. One. I am. We can Eiffel Tower this motherfucker because he is fine. He is gorgeous. He's so pretty, and he can take a mean dick. I went to his Twitter. It is fantastic. He moans in all the right places, and he's my new favorite. Actually, Cali Dad chose him as well, so we might have to be a foursome. So the picture, like you said, he's lying on the bed. He's got one leg above, and for me personally, it's like he's offering up which one you want to taste first. And I say both of them. Oh. Can I get a second mouth? Can your mouth be on one part and my mouth be on the other part? I think that is what we need to get into.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I can't pick anybody else. This is the one for me. I'm sorry.
It's the one. I think he's good. Yeah. You know what? Let's just do a little.
Let's do it.
Let's vote right now, because on this we can actually see Andre Milan. I'm going to vote for him. Let's just see where he's ranking.
He's number 2.
I'm going to vote right now, and I might make him number 1. He's number 2. You're right.
Oh. Yeah, number 1 is Marcus McNeil. So where is Marcus?
What's Marcus doing?
I know, right? Marcus is cute. He all right. He look a little.
No, they're all good. I mean, we're not haters over here. I love it. Oh my god!
I love that you're in your top era. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, honey. I'm all over the place. Yeah. I'm a mess. A hot mess. And I mean that in the best way possible.
In the best way.
Okay, what are people saying before we say goodbye to our lovelies?
Khalidad also chose Andres Milan. He's got the cock, the cooch, and the feet. He's showing all the things with some clapping emojis. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, this has been amazing. And you can always follow my co-host. First of all, he has a brand new single called Talk About It. It's available wherever you download your music, on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, everywhere else. Talk About It. And he goes by Kodi Maurice. So Kodi Maurice, Talk About It is the single. And I hear there's some remixes coming out in the near future. So stay tuned for that. You can also follow him. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching on Instagram, or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Mr. Maurice. Love that name. You can follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Follow me on Twitter at Tags Podcast, because you can get a preview of my OnlyFans. And by the way, I shot some stuff in LA with the Redhead XXX. I just got it. It's to see myself on camera and the way these guys are so professional with their camera setups. Oh my goodness. It was I mean, it's the real deal. I'm really
I
excited
want to learn
about
something
this.
for my private
This
file.
this is coming out next week. I'm really proud of it because I just went in kind of like willy-nilly, and the redhead XXX, who is going to be a guest on our show soon, in full regalia with the red mask. And you say mask, I say mosque, and it's amazing. And so check my OnlyFans, onlyfans.com/sexy poppy Steve V. And in the meantime, continue having hot
Hot
gay
gay
sex.
sex.